Good afternoon, we are Andra Moraru
and Gabriela Mihai, and we study at the National Military High School Turva Dimirescu, Craiova, Romania.
The following material is an overview of our perspective on the significance of peace, security and prosperity of UN operations with a focus on the Sudan situation.
To begin with, gaining a deeper understanding of the importance of peacekeeping involves knowing what peacekeeping is and its purpose. UN peacekeeping is a unique worldwide partnership which is assigned missions with clear mandates and which includes cooperation between the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Secretariat, troops and police contributors, and the host governments. United Nations military personnel are known as the Blue Helmets.
The three main components of peacekeeping are consent of the parties, impartiality and non-use of force except in self-defense and defense of the mandate. The history of UN peacekeeping operations began in 1948 during the Arab-Israeli War. From then on, 72 missions have taken place around the globe. One of the most difficult situations currently occurs in the Sudan, where actions are paramount in order to keep things under control.
After gaining its independence in 2011, it was expected that Sudan would finally enjoy peace and stability. But things took a wrong turn when, in December 2013, the forces loyal to President Salva Kiir attacked those loyal to Riek Machar. Council members were concerned about the reports of violence and demanded that all parties must stop human rights abuses, including violence acts against women. Recently, all these abuses were the last straw, resulting in people revolting against the coup. The consequences of these protests were civilian deaths. Extreme levels of violence have been observed in towns habited mostly by Dinka. For instance, Bor was one of the most affected towns.
Researcher for the Women's Rights Division, Sky Wheeler, and Amy Braunschweiger, senior web communications manager and reporter, have seen terrible things which they wrote about, and I quote, "The place was nearly deserted, and the people we met looked like ghosts, thin and subdued. Most of them had just returned from hiding, and they'd take us to where they found bodies. They'd open the door to a hut and say, 'There she is,' motioning to their dead neighbor rotting under a blanket." It also mentions that, and I quote, "All sides need to make concerted and timely efforts to negotiate. The United Nations continues to extend its good offices to facilitate a dialogue that can support transition to a democratic government in the Sudan." End of quote.
The United Nations missions in the Sudan has been mandated to support the peace consolidation and to support the government of this country to provide national security. After assessing the situation in the Sudan, as well as a number of statistical data, we can conclude that the higher the number of UN troops and police, the lower the level of violence against civilians by both governments and rebels.
Peacekeeping has proven its effectiveness in assisting countries to find the right path from conflict to peace, thus diminishing human suffering.